Good afternoon and welcome, Richard Fagan, to the Health, Wealth, and Happiness Show. We really appreciate you being on, and we're going to talk about everything today, if that's
We
you.
shall.
We're in your lovely home with your guitar collections and all your records, and it's amazing.
Well, you know what? I've grown to really appreciate everything I've done and not worry about what I may do because, you know, it was the 1st of February, the Dr. the doctor at the, what's the name? Why am I blanking on
Vanderbilt?
Yeah, Vanderbilt. He said, you're dying of liver cancer. The real Susie Sunshine, this guy. And I mean, there was a period when I got over, pardon the cigarette, I have maybe 3 or 4 a day.
That's okay.
They're yang-izing, they're healthy in small amounts. Especially if you don't have a lighter. But anyway, you know, I've been on this journey with the cancer for a while, and I beat it clean out first time. And yet Susie Sunshine sees the second CAT scans, the ones that were a year after the first, and it looks like a miracle, really. I mean, where there was a swirly pattern and a tumor in the middle, you had a nice gray liver with 3 little wisps. And he was the main salesman. He said, by the way, your liver was attacked by something, so take this chemo. And I have a friend, David the Healer, and I went to see him a second time. He's the one that told me that the tumor was a calcium deposit and that it was already going away. And that was what I was doing in imaging, you know, which
Yes.
is healthy. And it did. I mean, to me, the liver looked fine. Susie Sunshine says, no, still too bad for a transplant. What do you need for a transplant? I mean, this is kind of sideways, but there's a surgeon in Texas that might want to take a shot at me. And that's outside of hospice. I'm already in hospice care. Mm-hmm. But he said he thinks he can help. And that's B.B. Watson was an artist that I had. Mm-hmm. I have 7 cuts on his first album before he self-destructed on Jack Daniels and Peruvian marching powder. So he died of liver cancer, but his brother Hansel, they're twins, Hansel and Haskell. Oh. His brother Hansel got a new liver and is fine and healthy. Hansel didn't drink, but he worked in a factory where there were heavy carcinogens. So I guess we're on that track. And other than that, bringing it back to the beginning is that I'm grateful for what I have. I appreciate it. I look at every day as a blessing. I don't really think about the future. What'll happen when I'm gone? I don't know. I'll be gone. Well, and Rosie is the best woman in the world for me. I can't describe it. You just have to know her.
You're living in the now, and I think that's so important. I really do.
It's crucial.
Yeah, it is. It is indeed.
And to be in touch with your maker, your spirit, whatever it is you want to call it. It's real. It's scientifically verifiable, much more so than the Big Bang Theory. I mean, we're going to get into Big Bang Theory. Okay, great. What caused it? Mm-hmm. See, we don't get into that yet. We're scientists. There's a whole realm of science in healing that is just not appreciated. I mean, just on the tiny realm, it's like a Tennessee physician can prescribe me cannabis. But he ain't gonna.
No.
Because it's just politically incorrect.
Right.
And similar with anything that's in the extrasensory perception world.
Complementary
And
alternative.
that's the real world. The world's a lot bigger than we see it. We get so pinpointed on stuff.
Right.
I mean, first time I got cancer was probably from a lawsuit that just ate me up. Mm-hmm. See, cancer, it ate me up.
Yes.
My friend who died, and it was a terrible event in 2008, I call it the perfect storm, but the cause of death was a heart attack, and he had something bothering his heart for 15 years, and it killed him,
Yeah.
not me. anyway, there you go.
No, I totally agree. I mean, you hear people say, "Oh, he's got a lot of gall," and what happens? Gallstones, gallbladder problem.
Exactly.
Totally. I totally.
She's a real pain in the ass. Same deal.
I understand where you're going with that.
Yeah.
Now you're from Philadelphia?
Yeah.
Born in 1947?
Yeah, South Philly.
Really? I lived in Mount Holly, New Jersey.
I know where that is.
Yeah,
It's on the White Horse Pike.
Yes,
right?
it is.
Yeah, I mean, before they built
The New Jersey Turnpike.
It was, you're from Jersey, or you're from the White Horse or the Black Horse?
The White Horse or the Black Horse, that was it, yeah. And the Pennsauken Mall, do you remember that?
Yeah, I might have even, I think I got this vest there.
Did you really?
This vest I bought in 1985 because I was coming down to Nashville and I wanted to look country, so I bought me a trucker vest and a pocket knife.
Oh gosh, that is too cute.
Smotherman got me started on switchblades, and of course you know where that ended.
Yeah. No, you might want to tell our audience the story about that. I don't know if you want to go there or we're going to talk about it.
Well, if I could tell about it quick, I may as well, because it's a fact. Me and Tom were business partners for 32 years.
This is Tom Smotherman, and he was sort of a mentor,
No, Tom O'Teary.
I'm sorry, Tom O'Teary. I'm sorry.
That's the big story?
Yes, that's the big story.
Because in 2008, the Tennessean headline read, "Famous songwriter murders Sherry O'Terry's dad." And I looked at that and I went, famous? No, but because that's the only time you don't see famous songwriter very much. It was a terrible tragedy, but Tommy Jr. was right there for me before he even knew what was going on.
Oh, wow.
He just stepped right into his dad's shoes there, and so there was no prosecution, and
well, you left. You had left him. You had an argument.
The fight was that Tom had fallen and hit something in his rib that was like a nerve, that he was in more pain than I ever saw him in. So they put him on a fentanyl patch. By the way, I'm on a teeny weeny one, which I can be lucid on, but they slapped this big ass patch on him, and he was out for a week, and then they gave him a bigger patch. And then he came out of it and he was just flat out mean. Mean. I try to do everything right that he says, and I couldn't do nothing right, and it was driving me crazy. So I started walking the dog over to the Mexican restaurant, get my Patron for my nerves. Anyway, I confronted him with it and said, "Tom, really, the fentanyl's making you mean." And he knows that. He went through the 60s and 70s. He knows downers can make you mean. But he got this crazy look and said, "Back off." So I did. But 3 more days of it. I think Buffy Lawson came to visit, right? And somebody said, "Oh, you saw Rich and Tom, how are they?" She said, "Oh, they're going to kill each other." Not realizing. So the second time, it was the same place standing in the hall. I said, "Tom, really, the fentanyl's making you mean." And he got the same crazy look. And all I said, and never say this to anybody, is, "What are you going to do, hit me?" I mean, I know the man 32 years. Well, the first shot, like, cut my eyebrow open, knocked my glasses off, and I just stood there and took it as long as I could. And I had a little blade just that big. I highly recommend it. It's a Colt X15. If you want a switchblade, that's the one to get. Anyway, because it's undetectable, I got a DUI and they gave it back to me. I went, "Hey, everybody!" So yeah, I whipped it out and I took a step back with my right foot and made a feeble sweep 2 feet in front of him, just to back him off, and he threw a punch right into it and cut his wrist bad. And he just told me, "Get me the phone, Rob Royer's number," he wanted for some reason. And so I had a stack of cheese because we were smoking pot, and I always had some money for pot, so I figured I gotta go somewhere where he can't find me, but I gotta make sure he's all right and everything. And of course, where does everybody go to get arrested in Nashville? Dickerson Pike. Yeah,
Exactly.
Come on down. Yeah, so I crashed the car and got a DUI. And, the only number I could remember was Joe Collins. So I called him up because it kept being busy trying to get the bail bondsman, And I told Joe what was going on in the check. So he was the one that checked, and, the cops came on that. But meanwhile, this big old hustler, Charlie, said he could bail me out. He'd make the call if I'd bail him out too. And his bail was higher. But I said, sure, Charlie, you can do it. So he, anyway, I got bailed out, and I think I helped a friend of his with small bail. Mm-hmm. And the bondsman said, you can't pay his bail. He's got warrants in 2 other states. So anyway, when I'm almost home, and the bondsman says, I got a call. They said you forgot to sign part of the form, and I'll get in trouble. I got to bring it back. Well, that was a trick. They bring me back. A black cop, probably a sergeant, comes up and goes, "You Rich Fagan?" I went, "Yeah." I said, "Well, me and the detective want to talk to you at Harding Precinct." So I tell the detective the same story I told y'all, and he leans in and he says, "Your friend's dead. Murder one." And that's how I found out my friend died.
Oh, wow.
And that was my last drink. Up until lately, because I'm dying of cancer and it ain't going to hurt.
Right.
I'm not the same guy I used to be.
No. And you're just having a little beer. Or whatever.
Well, that's it. I sip.
Mm-hmm.
I know as an alcoholic, I like that constant. So I'm just wary enough to just sip a little through the day, and it helps me. I like that warm feeling. It says in the big book, we like the feeling. So I do, and it seems to be okay. My sponsor practically urged me to have a drink. I mean, 3 years ago I told him about the cancer the first time and asked about marijuana, and he said officially I can't say anything, but unofficially sounds like a great idea. And it was. It was a really great idea. Here's a little vape pipe. So here we are in Nashville, Tennessee, the Bible Belt, and I got to do illegal drugs. Why? I mean, the whole deal with the marijuana, roots, it was bullshit. It was propaganda.
I know.
Why do we still live with the stigma when there should be none?
I know.
To me, it's just silly.
Why must children have to be vaccinated before they can go to school?
I know there's a lot of silliness in our society. Dumbass stuff in our society, and we're out of balance as a people, and that closes us off.
Yeah.
The connection is that we're all one. I mean, if you take that and you just, it's a simple Christian or Buddhist beliefs, it's like, man, it's all here for us, but it's on.
Do you have any upcoming things?
Yeah, I do. Where the hell is it? I think I'm playing in July.
Okay, I'll look that up.
It'll be a ways up. I got to call her and put the particulars in, because I want to have some ringers. Like I want to have Roger Cook, who wrote "I'd like to teach the world to sing." Yeah, he writes entirely on ukulele. I mean, and he's had hits all going on.
Do you know Larry Weissenfeld?
I know the name, but I don't.
The Rhinestone Cowboy and all that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine just passed away. Well, not just, about 6 months ago. Wayne Carson.
Wayne Carson.
Carson from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm friends with his wife Wendy.
I met him in '85 and '86. We hung around.
He's our neighbor.
A little Wayne Carson story is Mickey James was the guy who got me to visit. He said, "Well, why don't you come visit me in Nashville? I think you'll like it." So I'm imitating Mickey. So anyway, here's Mickey and Wayne at the Bluebird in 1985. Mickey goes, "Wayne, I'd really like to write with you. Are you doing anything tomorrow?" He goes, "No, Mickey, we could write." He goes, Well, how's 11 o'clock sound? He goes, "Well, I usually don't stop throwing up till around 12. So, yeah, that was Wayne. The old days, man, were all crazy.
Yes.
And that's what makes us inventive and think outside the box. And I just don't hear as many great songs as I used to.
There
Now, I
aren't.
admit, I rode the crest of the up-tempo, but I had the ballads. They just weren't getting cut.
No, I was talking to a friend of mine. She's a piano teacher. We'd gone to a recital, and she's, you know, she goes to McKay's, and she said, I bought all the old music because she said, I'm just over it. There's no, there's, I guess there's a few, but it's not not the same.
There's a cycle to it, and I mean, who knew it would get this far to, like, a Florida Georgia line. But there's a kid I was writing with, Snow Smith, and he's good. I mean, he goes out with Rob Royer's daughter. Rob Royer's the guy I wrote Sold with, Oscar-winning songwriter, family member of Red. Well, anyway, I think they're going to back him.
Wow.
And that can't be nothing but good, because this guy's good. I never was really big on Florida Georgia Line, but I'll tell you what, they sell seats, and if that's what that's just a facet of what country's becoming. It's the tight ass business that keeps it, just all the same old crap instead of, like, let's have some George Jones on there. And some stations are doing that. It's like hits of the 90s and hits of today. I don't feel like telling them that the Overnight Mail was never a single, because it gets played as a hit from the 90s, and it never was.
Now, I know you're more rock, but you do the country. I mean, people tell me country is no longer country,
Well,
which is just fine with me. I prefer, it's not my favorite, the old country, but
I've grown to love it even more and more.
I love the lyrics.
But, my second trip here, when I was staying with Mickey James, there's no place to go at 10 in the morning but the Idle Hour. And so I sit down at the Idle Hour and I get a beer, and there's an old guy sitting beside me, and we start talking. And I start telling him how I'm moving to Nashville, man. This is great. I love it and everything. And he says, well, you should have been here 15 years ago. I said, yeah. He says, yeah, for people like you ruined it.
Oh my God.
And then we just tipped glasses and drank our beers, and that's what I love about Nashville. They'll tell you right to your face, but you're still cool. There's no animosity.
Did you ever hang with Harlan Howard or anybody like that?
A little bit, yeah. I like it. Smotherman's the only man I know played a song for him. We were at the Tavern on the Row, or whatever it was called. It was Big Moose Tavern on the Row. But anyway, he played a song called If You Ain't Country, You Ain't Shit. and Harlan was like, yeah.
He loved it.
But Harlan was great, man. He called us all youngsters. And yeah, it was just lovely. He was part of the hang. We had a thing called the Algonquin Round Table. We got together every Friday about 4:30, and we got well oiled. Drinks and snacks and totes on the way and all that. It was a wonderful world. What's funny is I remember one time at sunset, we were on the outside little thing, whatever they call that.
Sunset Grill?
Yeah, and there was just a few of us, me, Tom, maybe Joe Collins, Casey Jones, and Smotherman. And I see Rob Royal walking down the street smiling. He's got a paper bag, brown paper bag. And what he's got in the bag are Michael's CDs, because he ran out. Because Rob produced this Conjure Man CD, which is excellent. If you can get it. It's a great album, Conjure Man. So Rob comes over and sits down and proudly plunks the bag in front of Smotherman. Now there's other little citizens and stuff eating around. Michael looks in the bag and goes, hey, there's supposed to be 2 ounces in here.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Yeah, at the Sunset Grill, which I think is now a spa or something. I don't know what things have changed on Music Row.
I did too. It was a great
the
night.
voodoo pasta.
Yeah, I mean, we were always either at the bar area or the lounge. Got our high heels on, and it goes, if you fall, keep singing. I love that. Because it was, you know,
Yeah.
the little wooden risers with the high heel.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I've done that before.
Oh, yeah.
No, just kidding.
No, but high heels. But no, you see people fall off those things. Who was it just recently fell off with, what's her name that was running for vice president with
Carly
Lion's
Fiorina.
Head? What do you think all the political stuff going on? This is awful.
I gave up politics for Lent, and
It's something, isn't it?
Rosie kind of likes Trump, and I like the Jew guy.
I like Trump.
And I figure it's going to fall where it is, and it's in God's hand.
Yep, I like Trump.
I mean, but the fact that Rosie liked him made me think more like, well, Rosie's not stupid.
No.
There's things that can happen. He's not working alone, and if it you know kicks America in the ass, it might be.
Don't
good.
you think we need it? I
We
mean,
gotta get back.
we gotta get
and,
back.
You know, they're all saying that, but if you know when they're president, then they have to deliver.
I mean, I was a Democrat all my
I think
life.
Obama delivered fine. I don't
Yeah,
have any
no.
problems with it.
They could have
the
put a bunch
problem
of walls for up
Yeah,
from
the
him.
problem is the white-black thing was not resolved, and it's coming to a head. I mean, you know, back in my day, I mean, we just didn't go certain places.
No.
I mean, I remember hitchhiking, you know, getting out of the army, being called a hippie and stuff. I was ready to like tear their ass up. But like, yeah, I just got back from Nam. Come on out and see me.
Wow. Yeah, I was in Cincinnati in the, I guess it was early 60s, and the rioting was just
You know,
incredible.
are we rolling or anything?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, we are. Okay, I'm sorry.
Well, one interesting tidbit, you know, I was drafted, and I'm so naive, I didn't even realize that I was already living here. It was after 95. Sitting at my desk, and I thought, my first sergeant at Benning sent me to Nam. And once I thought it, there was no doubt in my mind, because we had an altercation 6 weeks before. And then I'm the only guy that's going on. But the altercation was, I got caught sniffing glue in a black park in Phoenix City, Alabama. So I don't know exactly what the crime was. I remember eating one of them one of them big burger things. Burger King was, I ate a Burger King and sniffed some glue and got arrested. And so the cops bring in, and then they bring you to the MPs, and then the MP bring you to your CO or whoever. So he was the top dog, you know, non-com. So, you know, what he said, he goes, I'm going to have you drummed out of the Army.
Wow.
And I said, you can't. Which really made his hackles grow up. And I said, look, I was drafted. On the form it said, are you addicted to any drugs? I put yes, glue. And he walked away, and it was over with, and I thought it was over with, but apparently it wasn't. So anyway, he's the guy that sent me to Vietnam, but I'm so naive. I give it, and he's stiff as a board. I give this fat old dog a big hug and say, I'm really going to miss you, Sarge. And I'm sure in his head he's going, you know, you're taking all the fun out of this, boy. But my year in Cameron Bay was pretty good. Many fine experiences. But
Really?
towards the end, there was a hill we used to frequent and get high on and have a little circle. And one night I wasn't there, but it was the biggest night. There was just like a huge circle of people. So a CID and MPG show up and flash their lights, and everybody's flashing the peace sign and everything, and they just drive off because it's just too big to handle. And Stars and Stripes is in town, and they don't want that shit in the press. So an edict came down to crack down on people within the company. So one evening, you know, I don't think it was dark out yet, but there was 9 of us sitting in a circle smoking, and I see walking up as a CID, an MP, and the captain of a transportation unit that all the other guys belong to. And so I buried my joint, you know, and they didn't find it. But they looked in the bunker and you know, they said, whose book is this? I had a book sitting on a sandbag in the bunker. And I said, that's mine. And under the sandbag was an ounce of pot. Whose pot? So anyway, but they read the book, and in the book I had, I met a man who was a PFC, but he had a security clearance of colonel. And he ran secret orders for General Scott. And he saw the unmarked planes at Tan Son Nhut Air Base. And he was told that if they spotted any friendlies, to shoot them down.
Wow.
So, this back then was, I guess, top secret. But I didn't give a shit. I mean, I'm just writing in my book. I'm not, you know, a revolutionary or anything. But, so they take my book, but they have to give it back, and they do give it back to me. So there, when I get out of the Army, I decide I'm not going to tell my family I'm getting out yet. Instead of going to Philadelphia, I'm going to go to San Francisco. I want to see Haight-Ashbury and all that stuff. So I get from the Seattle airport to San Francisco, and 2 GIs come up and go, hey man, need a ride? I went, sure. And so we're riding along, and I said, just take me to the cheap hotel district. They dropped me off in the Tenderloin where GIs aren't even allowed, but it's okay because I'm not really in the Army anymore. But anyway,
You weren't in uniform. You were still in
I was still in uniform.
Oh, you were?
But it doesn't matter. It's like I'm out. Can I say that?
Yeah. You say anything you want, hon.
So on the way, I'm bored, and I just say, so what unit are you guys from? And they hesitate, and I said, oh, CID, huh? And they would go, yeah, but there's no trouble here. It's all happening in Chicago. Ha ha ha. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They were talking about the Democratic Convention in Chicago. And I'll tell you something about all these events that we see. CID are there, CIA are there, where they want to stir up trouble. They'll make us hippies look bad.
Yes.
And it's been done time immemorial. I mean, you know, the guy, I can't think of his name, but he wrote, it was around the time of Be Here Now and all. It was like, I think it was called Do It. But there was one phrase that I remember from that book, and I'll remember it forever. It's give us the media for 1 week, and we'll have every housewife in America swooning over us. And it's the truth.
Oh, I know.
It's perception. It's like Malcolm X was a bad guy. No, I mean, there's a lot of good in Malcolm X. A lot of good in a lot of them. Rat Brown and all them guys, man, they were fighting for a cause. And you know, I just still believe in that cause.
Did you ever read the book Subliminal Seduction?
No.
It's just talking about how in advertising, promoting, and things like that, how they can just
oh yeah, well the
change.
The media is the massage or something.
Yeah.
I read that one. There's a lot of good. I mean, man, I wish we still had bookstores. Rob Royer, by the way, has a bestseller out.
Oh, really? What is it?
It's called, I think, View from. Oh, it's a woman's name. God, I can't think of it, but it'll show right up. It's basically a little biography. We're rolling, eh?
Yeah, we're rolling, Yeah, but we'll edit everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of what the...
And we can
Contessa, A View from Contessa.
Oh.
And so what it was he lives on the Virgin Islands now in St. Thomas. And when he knew he wanted to move there, so he rented a nice place right on a crest called the Contessa. And he just sat down and wrote the book. Didn't have to ask anybody how to write it. And I know it's great. I got it. Because I do this too, but I haven't succeeded in putting it in print, is he writes like he talks. And like just like I'm me, he's him. Interesting as hell. Really. I mean, the book I know will grab you. I should finish my book.
Yes.
But there's so many anecdotes that I have to get there, and it's like I don't want to bore people getting to the anecdotes.
You said you're having trouble with your computer, keeps crashing or something?
Yeah, but it's been acting all right lately.
Oh, good.
I would say
That's so frustrating.
prayer or something has helped. Yeah, I've had miraculous things happen with computers where they say, "Oh, it's done," and it'll come back, and I'll go, "Well, thank you, God." So you interviewed Casey Jones too, hey?
Well, I haven't interviewed her for a TV show. I've known her from Jesse Goldberg.
Yeah.
You know Jesse, and met her several times, and we've talked, and so she's coming back June the 9th, I think. So
Yeah, she's still at that retreat.
she's still at the retreat in Chattanooga. She's having a tough time, and
Yeah, I guess we're both in another phase. But,
yeah.
But still,
Tori Bailey's a mutual friend too. I don't know if you know Wayne Bailey and Tori.
Yeah.
They're, you know,
Wayne and Vicky and Tori.
Vicky. Yeah, they're all mutual friends. So, you know, I just feel like we all have to stick together and support one another. And
Yeah. Look, life is eternal and love is eternal, and we have to stick with the things that are eternal, the things that are invisible, the things that are of feeling of the heart.
right,
And live there and live in this day, because why it doesn't help worrying about tomorrow.
no,
It doesn't help fretting about what you didn't do. Be happy with what you did do.
now do you have children?
Yeah, I have a son.
Is he here?
No, he's in Ponca City, Oklahoma.
Oh, does he come?
He's actually coming for Memorial Day.
Oh,
Rosa
good.
said that
Oh,
that's
good.
his idea. Yeah,
Oh, good.
I think that's good. Yeah.
You have grandchildren?
Yes, I do. Tessa.
Oh,
She's my
how
granddaughter.
old is she?
God, at least 7, maybe 8 by now.
Oh, how
And
did you
they were
start?
here 2 years ago for New Year's. Again, Rosie, we were broke, but she flew them out because she said, you have to see them. They're
Oh,
family.
yeah.
Rose is the best that way.
Right.
And then, you know, in '09, you know, right after the fracas, you know, when I first moved home, I visited him in Ponca City, and that was nice too.
Is he in
right-
music?
No, he works for the Frontier Woman Museum, and he does
Cool.
narratives and all, and he's generally an introvert, so the last job he had that was like that was when he worked at Gardner's Basin in Atlantic City doing the same thing. And he loves his job because he gets to talk to people and help people, and he's always trying to learn more about it. Good kid. We used to walk along Bottle Beach, maybe with a quart of beer in my hand. We talk about life and everything.
Yeah.
And it ain't changed much since then.
Yeah.
When I was still in rehab, I called him up and I said, you know, Keith, if you have any resentments about me walking out on you and your mom when you were 5, I'd understand and do anything I could to help. And he said, no, I'd have left with you if I could. I said, I'd have took you if I could. He says, I know.
Oh, that's sweet.
Love.
Yeah, love. Yeah, my daughter is in Florida, and she's married, got a great husband, and she wants me there. And I don't know. I've been in Nashville since 1991, and I lived in Florida for about 20 years. And there's just I'm from Lexington, Kentucky, so there's something about Nashville, the people, the energy, the music, the
Yeah.
art, and it just keeps drawing me back. I like it here, and I
Yeah.
love the people here. I've never
This
had.
city's really growing, but it's a great town.
It is. I know. They say 83 people a day move in. Can you imagine that? I have friends that, you know, they put their houses on the market and in one day, it's gone. There's, you know, it's just
I
amazing.
remember when songwriters had to put $100 deposit down on getting a phone because they were songwriters. Yeah.
Did you want to ask Richard anything else?
Yeah, what was the first time when you had a song that was successful that you felt like, okay, well now I've made it now, I'm a member, I'm real, I'm a member of the club, I can do this?
That would be the Neil Diamond thing,
Neil Diamond.
because I mean, it was just so unimaginable to go from nowhere to have a Neil Diamond cut. And I remember,
It's on him.
well anyway, I remember listening to the album and getting stoned and said, did you ever think you'd be getting stoned to Neil Diamond? The other interesting thing is right around the same time I got the mock-up of my album, my Mercury debut album, Richard Fagan, self-titled. Like I had a choice. Anyway, I had approved it for printing because I went through the inside and outside and every damn side of that record and made sure everything was right, and I gave the approval. Well, the same morning that I'm listening to Neil, I pulled the record out and I see that my name is spelt wrong on the side. It's E-N. If you ever want to buy the album, it's a keeper because it's spelled wrong on the side. So.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing about Willie is, I'm dying of cancer here, and, there's a Make-A-Wish Foundation. My wish is to smoke a joint with Willie. If you're listening out there, Willie, I want to smoke a joint with you.
Very cool.
You could bring,
You can bring Christopherson.
bring some friends along. No, I was thinking of the other guy I like is Keith from, Mick Jagger. Keith Richards.
Keith Richards, yeah.
What a cat. It's funny, I really got into the Beatles full bore and the whole beautiful world that they painted. But looking back, the Stones, they've been doing it and they keep doing it. They're tapped into something.
Mm-hmm.
There's a song I heard, it's called We Love You. Look it up on iTunes. It's a track of the Stones that what came about at the time when Mick and Keith were in trouble for smoking pot. I think maybe Keith was heroin, both in Canada. They were waiting trial and they came out with a song called We Love You, and it's an awesome little video. You'll enjoy it.
What are your thoughts on Cheech and Chong? Did they just create a culture of marijuana that you kind of talk a certain way, or
yeah,
and you're kind of dumb or crazy?
There's, if you smoke pot, there's a little bit of that, and you always come back. Yeah, man. How you doing?
Start using the word dude.
Yeah, dude. But I like the culture. I smoked for 40 years and I quit for 5.5. And then when I got the cancer the first time, I told my sponsor that I didn't want to drink, but what about cannabis? And he said, well, off the record, sounds like a good idea. And it is, man, it helps. It's been wonderful hanging with you guys so far. Anything else y'all want to know? Back when I was homeless the first time, I was homeless twice. But I was homeless and I met this dude from Canada, and he said he had some killer stuff, so I'm hanging with him and waiting, and he said that it was grown up in British Columbia from Costa Rican seeds. Now that would probably be what we know now as BC bud, but this was way back in the day. And so he gives me a joint, and damn. So really most grass back then wasn't that great. Occasionally for, what was an exorbitant price, you could get Panama Red or Acapulco Gold. But a $5 deal would be like a pin joint maybe, But the hash was good. And this fella said, grass is stronger than hash. And I'm agreeing with him because he's going to give me a joint. And it turns out he's right, because the little trichomes that are on the buds, that's what gives you the most potent high. And when they make hash, they get them all together, and then you get keef, which is green, and then you roll it on your hand, and you end up with black hash. And what happens is, though it preserves it well, some of the the high albumer, the little cones on there are gone.
Yeah.
Whereas if you got a little bud, like I was always told, don't break it till you're going to use it. Break off a bud, roll a joint, and you're going to get higher. But it's because of the quality of the grass. Back then, the grass was one thing, and the hash was like Afghani or Nepalese red or Afghani black. God, those were the days back when we had good drugs, when pharmaceuticals were even better. Back when they had Tunals. That's Seconal and Nembutal mixed together. Yeah, Secobarbital. Folks, anything, any life-changing thing, don't put it off. I mean, when you're young, it's easier to stop drinking, stop smoking, stop doing whatever you're doing. It's just easier. You just have to focus on balance and clarity.
Right.
If I seem out of balance, I don't think I am. I think I'm just fine where I am. And I'm blessed to be here. There was some other story. Oh yeah, the CID story. Is so, remember I said, so the fella said, you need a ride, blah, 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 there's no trouble here, it's all happening in Chicago. They dropped me off in a cheap hotel in the Tenderloin. And the next morning, I get up and I have a little bag with my book in it and some photographs of dead VC that I traded for photographs of Bob Hope and shit, because we didn't have any dead VC where we were. We didn't see him. So there's a guy with real long blonde hair. He's got an infantry cap and a badge on.
Okay, maybe Casey.
And he says, you want to buy some pot? So I said, sure. And he leads me around this circle. We're just walking all around. I don't know where we're going because we're not going in a straight line. And then suddenly we stop and we go up to this little one-room flop, and he says, leave your bag here, we'll be coming back. So I do. Then we go to Haight-Ashbury, and he says, give me whatever it was, 30 bucks, 20 bucks, and I'll. So that's odd because he's selling grass and he's got to like cop it for me. So I thought, well, I'm going to lose my money here, but no, he comes back with the ounce of grass. And he says, wait here, I'll be right back. Then he's gone. See, there was a communique between him and other people. People probably who were up in my hotel room. People who were in communication with if I dropped the bag off, if they had what I had. And it ended like that, so. I asked, years and years later, an FBI guy, retired friend, his son's a song plugger. But I asked him, I told him the story, I said, could I get that book back, Freedom of Information Act? He said, oh no, that book doesn't exist. He says, it was either you or the book.
Oh, wow.
Really? He said, yeah, top secret. Absolutely. You've been gone.
Wow.
So it pays to be stupid. Just not know, play dumb. I don't know shit. Yeah, I mean.
Hopefully they won't take you out,
I know that it changes. I mean, Dylan, when he went electric, lost some fans in folk. But I mean, even back then, folk and country mixed in. I mean, Johnny Cash cut a few Dylan songs. And, I don't know, beautiful day. You know what? Rosie likes to watch Lawrence Welk. And I think you could see it on YouTube, but there's nothing like seeing those, pearly white singers singing, one toke over the line. It's like, hey man.
That's so sweet.
Righteous.
How did you meet Rosie?
Actually online.
Really?
She, on Facebook, she had said she had worked for NSAI and she'd seen me in concert, about 10 years ago. And that she was moving back to Nashville and getting into songwriting. And would I write with her? So I said, yeah. And we wrote, and it was very nice. And the second time, I don't know if we were finishing up the first song or the second, but we got up to just hug goodbye and we kissed, and that was it.
Oh, what a beautiful story.
I've never been in love before.
Really?
I've hurt, but to really be in love, can't beat it.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Can't beat it. And she's not the bottom type I always like the spinners, but she's perfect body type for me. I mean, we see eye to eye. She's a wonderful woman.
Oh, that's sweet.
And she never complains about anything with all that she's gone through.
Yeah.
Man, thanks for the food, the grub.
Well, we're going to let you rest. I know we've
I
taken
got
a lot
one
of
more
your
question for you,
time.
Willie.
One more,
Did
that's
you ever
all.
know Fred Foster, the producer?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was my ex-wife's producer and everything. And of course, he produced all those Percy Sledge and Roy Orbison hits.
Yeah,
And
well, Fred was connected with Combine.
Yeah.
And Bob Beckham.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I know him from. Beckham was a trip. Nice guy.
Yeah.
He called everybody that little shit, particularly Larry Gatlin. You get that little shit on the phone.
Well, that sounds about right for Larry
Yeah.
Gatlin.
Well, there used to be a sign back in the cocaine days. When you entered Tree, it said, what was it? Who was the guy that said, I never met a man I didn't like?
Well, thank you so much for being on the Health, Wealth, and Happiness show.
Thank
it's
you.
just such an honor.